Have you ever wondered what the most expensive cars ever sold at public auction are? There's no question that some vehicles are built differently, and no, they're not just built better. These cars are built to amaze, and in some cases can fetch prices you wouldn't even think are possible. So without ado, here's a list of the 10 most expensive cars ever sold at public auction. At number 10, we have a 2023 Chevrolet Corvette Z06 DIN001. This beautifully impressive vehicle was the top result in the Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale 2022 sale. And what was the price for this car, you might ask? Seeing as this car is only coming in at number 10, you might expect it to not be worth an incredible amount. If you were thinking to yourself that it barely graced the $1 million threshold, well, you'd be completely wrong. An almost unbelievable $3.6 million was paid to benefit Operation Homefront, the U.S. national nonprofit celebrating 20 years of building strong, stable, and secure military families. You have to admit that it's a nice thing this car was sold for charity, as this could very well be a record price for an upcoming model car. Although there have been barely 200 cars sold for over $1 million so far in 2022, this vehicle alone has raised the bar for future sales. It's important to note that because the proceeds of this vehicle are going to charity, it's not as crazy as many of the other sales on this list, some of which are just because the buyer really wanted the car. A 1960 Ferrari 250 GT SWB Berlinetta Competizione comes in at number 9. This yellow, competition-proven variant featured a lightweight aluminum coachwork by Scaglietti, wearing a vivid and historically significant livery. It sold for almost $9 million at the Gooding London 2022 auction. There was a good reason for this price as well, seeing as this competition-proven variant featured some incredible features. That's right, we're talking about lightweight aluminum coachwork by Scaglietti, which is just one of the many reasons this car is so special. It has a famous race history, including its significant presence at the infamous 24 Hours of Le Mans. Talk about a vehicle with some serious credentials. Next, at number 8, let's talk about the 1924 Hispano-Suiza H6C Tulip Wood Torpedo. This wood-bodied 1924 Hispano-Suiza H6C Tulip Wood Torpedo sold for $9,245,000, setting a new mark record at the RM Sotheby's Monterey 2022 sale. And yes, this is another car that was sold for charity purposes. The vehicle was commissioned by Aperitif Air and gentleman racer André Dubonnet for the 1924 Targa Florio and is the sole example produced. This means that it is undoubtedly the most famous Hispano-Suiza in the world, having been part of several famed private collections. 1937 Mercedes Benz 540K Special Roadster comes in at number 7. This vehicle is the second highest price ever paid for a regular Mercedes Benz road-going car, but of course quite a bit cheaper than the most expensive Mercedes-Benz ever, coming in at an incredible $9,905,000. This vehicle is a highly desired long-tail, covered spare variant, and a low-mileage example presented in incredibly original condition. It was cosmetically refurbished in the 50s but never truly restored, and retained an astonishing degree of originality throughout. This is the purest and most desired of all special roadsters, at least according to many sports fans and car collectors. It's also worth noting that this auction was the first time that two 500Ks and six 540Ks were sold in the same auction. This makes not only the vehicle but the auction at which it was sold pretty crazy. Talk about a twice-in-one night type of deal, right? Coming at number 6, we have a 1937 Bugatti Type 57 SC Atlante. This incredibly sleek vehicle was the most expensive car in the Gooding Pebble Beach 2022 classic car sale, and the second most expensive car at all auctions during Monterey Week 2022. It was also the fourth Bugatti to achieve over $10 million. This example was early on returned to Molsheim to receive a Roots-type supercharger to become one of the very first 57 SCs. Bugatti only built 42 examples of the Type 57S chassis, of which only 17 were fitted with Atlante coachwork. With these impressive features, it's no wonder this vehicle went for such a high price. Still, seeing as this vehicle went for over $10 million, many car lovers will probably question whether or not the features and unique history of the car is worth the price. After all, $10 million isn't a small amount of money. Quite the contrary, in fact. That's some serious dough. At number 5, we have a 1937 Talbot-Lago T150-C-SS Teardrop Coupe. This magnificent vehicle is nothing short of stunning. In fact, some say it's the most beautiful post-war French car ever built. This wonderful work of art was designed by Figoni et Falaschi and sold for an impressive $13,425,000 at the Gooding Amelia Island sale in 2022. It is also the most expensive French car in history, nominally. This gorgeous car is the only French marque besides Bugatti to have achieved results in excess of $10 million at auction. Talk about quite a crowning achievement, seeing as this vehicle is only the second French car to ever achieve this. The unique 1955 Ferrari 410 Sport Spider is featured at number 4. This incredibly unique vehicle is the 15th car to ever sell for more than $20 million at public auction, selling for an impressive $22,005,000 at the RM Sotheby's Monterey 2022 sale. This vehicle is by far the most expensive car sold during any of the 2022 Monterey Week sales. This car was raced in period by, amongst others, Juan Manuel Fangio, Phil Hill, and Carroll Shelby. It entered 40 races, won 11, and achieved podium finishes 19 times. The car retained the matching numbers engine, chassis, and body, which is a testimony to its authenticity and unique value. At number 3, we have a 1954 Mercedes Benz W196R Formula 1 single-seater. This vehicle is a genuinely incredible piece of machinery. It sold for an amazing $29,600,000 at the Gooding Pebble Beach 2022 Classic Car Sale, which is by far the most ever paid for a Mercedes-Benz at a public auction, and the third most expensive car in any auction series. This vehicle is one of only 10 W196s that were raced by the Mercedes-Benz Works team, and is the very first of these cars to be sold publicly. Next up, at number 2, we have a 1963 Ferrari 250 GTO. This vehicle is the fourth most expensive car ever sold at a public auction, selling for an amazing $48,405,000 at the RM Sotheby's Monterey 2022 sale. This vehicle was purchased new by French privateer Georges Filippinetti and raced extensively during its first year. Finally, at number 1, let's talk about a 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe. This vehicle, which became the most valuable car in the world, sold for a world record price of $143 million at a special auction arranged by RM Sotheby's for the Mercedes Benz Museum in Stuttgart, Germany. This is by far the most expensive car ever to be sold at a public auction. Its opening bid of 50 million euros was more than the highest price ever paid for a car at auction. The record 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe was one of 2 prototypes developed for the Works Racing program that was cancelled. This beautifully enchanting vehicle has increased the record for the most expensive car by over $90 million, and there's good reason for that. It's one of 2 prototypes developed for the Works Racing program that was cancelled. Although both 300 SLRs were part of the Mercedes-Benz Museum collection, their sale to a private owner came rather unexpectedly. Nevertheless, its new owner will have the pleasure of driving around in what is now the most valuable car in the world. This vehicle is without question one of the most impressive pieces ever created, and though it's a real shame that it's not going to be publicly displayed anymore, at least we know that it's in good hands. Plus, it'll be quite a sight to be seen if it's ever driven around town. Just imagine what car lovers would say. Well, that and what the insurance is going to be like, seeing as it's now the most expensive car in the world. Okay, let's sum it up. So there you have it. Those are the 10 most expensive cars ever sold at a public auction. If you want to own one of the most impressive pieces of machinery in existence, be prepared to shell out some serious dough. But hey, if you've got it, why not flaunt it? As you can see, there are definitely levels to this, and we can't wait to see what the future holds for automotive auctions. Though some of these vehicles barely passed the $10 million mark, others went significantly above and beyond. We can only imagine how much they would go for if they were to be sold privately, or even in a future auction series. Still, that's going to be it for this list. What are your thoughts on these vehicles? Which is your favorite car, and which would you picture yourself driving? Go ahead and let us know your thoughts and more in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.